Box.
Bug, stay out, stay out. What's
Uh,
up, guys? Welcome back, episode 22, Lockup Podcast. I got Chris here with me. He's a little down in the dumps with today and what happened with his boy, but yeah. I mean, Silverstone in one word, man. Give it to me.
maybe we should have tiered it at S.
Maybe it proved to be an S tier track after today because good lord. Talk about excitement from literally lights out until the final lap and final turn of the race.
Yeah, best race of the season. I don't really think there was a mid-race slump ever. There was always someone
No.
hunting.
Yeah, usually around I watch the first 10 laps, hit a power snooze and wake up for the last like 25 laps or something like that. But this one was just, I mean, it was flat out one exciting, drama filled, filled with suspense, filled with like it had everything a Drive to
Danger.
Survive episode that would have had.
Oh, yeah, this episode's gonna slap for sure.
They'll probably
But yeah,
cover
I
it over
guess
3 episodes.
it might even be a whole season just on Silverstone. Drive to Survive Silverstone season.
Good lord, imagine. I
I
mean,
mean, look, think about it. We have Goat Tiffy with the Q3, dude,
oh man,
outqualified Albin. And
oh
then
man.
you saw him thread the needle between uh George Russell and Zhou Yu. Like, come on, dude. He's coming into form
No,
right now, I think.
today's start for Latifi was actually stupid masterclass. But I mean, I'm more so surprised. Listen, I'm not trying to take away what good things Latifi has done this year because listen, they may be few, but sometimes he deserves a lot. He needs a pick me up. The dude
He
needs a
deserves his
smile.
praise this weekend.
He deserves his praise. You're right. He does deserve his praise. But I'm more so shocked that the people that are usually good in wet qualifying weren't. Like Stroll was P20, dog.
Stroll hasn't been good in wet qualifying this year though. This season.
Ah, yeah, I guess that's fair. I mean, it's kind of really up to the car at that point because which they had a good race today. I mean, Sebastian Vettel went from P19, actually no, P18 to P9, and then Stroll went from P20 to P11. So I mean, listen, there was a lot
Yeah,
that
but
went in between
hey,
that. There was a lot that went in between that,
there was like
but
6 DNFs.
yeah, but it was a good drive. It was a decent drive, but I mean, I,
Zhou, Botas, Russell, Albin, Ocon, Gasly. Yeah, six DNFs. So
the six very important. Almost seven with Max.
yeah, I
Almost
mean,
seven.
yeah, that's true. That was at least Max was able to save it. But we could do a quick little driver standing update right now. So where we sit
Yeah,
today.
right before we get into the big old race. Hit him with it, Chris.
Yeah, Max is still P1 with 181 points. So he's got a nice lead. And then Perez is right behind him. So really it's Red Bull right now, both drivers in it. Uh, and Perez has 147 points, so he's only down by like 30 something. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna do the math right now.
I'm not gonna
Uh,
do the math.
yeah, I'm an engineer, but I'm terrible at quick math. And then Leclerc P3, 138 points, so he's barking at the heels of Perez. And then Carlos Sainz P4, he just overtook Russell today because Russell DNF'd,
Yeah,
127 points. So things are, I mean, it's pretty clear. We got Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes. So we know what the top three teams are, but we already knew that. Uh, and then, constructors, Red Bull, 304 points. Ferrari's catching back up to them now, 228.
yeah. Today was
Six,
big for them with closing that
big,
gap.
yeah, big day for them. Could have been better, but well, I mean,
Yeah,
Ferrari's gonna Ferrari.
yeah. We'll get. we'll, we'll, that's inevitable to get to, but we'll get to that. That is, yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, so for those that didn't see the race, I'm gonna let Tyler paint you a picture of the lap one craziness that went down.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, starting out the race, very literally excitement filled with from lights out to the end of the race. But let's just start with lights out. So you got Man, you got signs. You have signs and Verstappen lined up first row locked out. You got Perez, Leclerc lined up right behind them, locked out, ready to go. You have an all British third row with Hamilton and Norris. Which shout out to Norris starting up that high considering the McLaren he's driving. So that's the first three rows, and then you got a mix of like you got George Russell right behind him. uh, so you got all three. Well, technically, which I've got a bone to pick. They did this little tiny piece, this nice little homecoming piece with Lando, Hamilton, and George, right before the broadcasting for the Grand Prix started, and it was nice, dude. They're gonna do Albon dirty like that. He's British. He's
He's British.
they're literally gonna his name is Alexander Albon. He's British, bro. Like you're gonna do him dirty like that. So, anyways, that's my quick bone to pick with that.
Yeah,
So,
where's the diversity?
freaking
Where's the diversity in the pool?
the slander on Alex
Sorry, he's
Albon.
not British white. Sorry, he's not freaking white rice. All right, he's a little
Like,
jab of
it's,
Thai rice. Okay.
like, dude, like, please, the dude's cultured. My guy's cultured. I think they slided. I'm just, I mean, obviously it's not super serious, but like, come on, man. You had the three Brits up there. Get him up there too. Like,
And he's racing in a Williams.
that's what I'm saying. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on. Don't do him dirty like that. But yeah, like I just had a little bone to pick. But okay, so there's
We
the
got
like
lights
first
out,
four
right?
rows. We got lights out. We finally start the race. We have one. I just want to note Lewis Hamilton's start to the race was ridiculous. The man got into
Super crazy.
P3 so quickly. Like his off the line start was beautiful.
Yeah,
Um,
Perez and Leclerc really didn't. They had a pretty slow start, and Lewis just went yeet right through the middle, pass them both. Now he's
No,
P3.
dude, it like it almost looked instant. It almost looked like he started in P3. Like it was masterclass. And then of course, like we always know with the whole shot with Max starting P2, it's just as good as pole with him, especially when we're going into a right-hander where all you got to do is go flat out. Like for the first initial start, I mean, yeah, Max got his elbows out. Carlos Sainz, he's he hasn't been lined up against Max on pole for a while, or like for a
He
while, if not at all.
yeah, Max had him before they even came into the turn. He was already ahead of Carlos.
Yeah, no, Max gets his elbows out, makes that Red Bull like 3 cars wide and just make sure he gets the whole shot. You have Nicholas Latifi pulling one of the sickest threading of the needles that I've ever seen off the start. Like he's starting P10, so shouts out to the boy. And he comes up, immediately finds himself in P8, jumping the first 2 rows in front of, or the first row in front of him,
Yeah, it
absolutely going three wide on the main straight.
goes right between George Russell and Zhou Guanyu,
Yeah, which we're
which
we're gonna we're
that
shortly
yeah,
after, shortly.
that set it
So
up where Pierre Gasly or Pierre Crashly would have. I mean, it's not really his fault what happens, but
yeah,
he
honestly, I'm chalking it up to a series of unfortunate events.
yeah, it was definitely unfortunate. I mean, he thought he could pull off a goatee, which come on, bro, seriously. And he thought he would be able
Seriously,
to go. He thought he could thread the needle too because he saw the opening. But I mean, George Russell obviously he wanted to close that off because he saw he already got overtaken by Latifi there. So he
yeah.
starts coming in to the left a little bit. Uh, then Pierre Gasly's right up in the mix. He's trying to back out, but he hits
There's nowhere for him
his
to go. It's hard to
yeah,
blame it on
he's getting
Pierre.
squeezed. Yeah, he's getting
Yeah.
squeezed on both sides. Uh, his front right goes into the rear left of George Russell. George Russell goes into the side of uh, he goes left, pit maneuver left, goes right into Zhou Guanyu. Zhou Guanyu's car flips upside down, is sliding across the track into the
All
gravel.
through the gravel pit. Yeah.
Then somehow, first of all, shout out to the Halo, amazing safety feature.
Yeah. Halo saved another life today.
Yeah, and then that Halo catches in the gravel, does a double kickflip into the fence, and he's trapped between the fence and the tire barrier.
Dude, I mean, joke on you hit a sick line today. I mean, he tray flipped out of the start straight, board slided all the way through the gravel trap, and then double kick flipped out of the board slide into the tire barrier, in between the fence and tire barrier. Like
Yeah,
it was super intense. And watching it live because it cut away like
they didn't show anything,
the drone, dude. They didn't show it. My heart was in
which I
my
like that.
throat. Like,
I
yeah,
like
no, out of respect, like 100%, that is the correct thing to do regardless, every time.
until you know what like that the driver's okay. Which
You're absolutely correct. That is textbook on how you should broadcast something like that. But when I tell you my throat was like my heart was in my throat, like it, dude, they weren't showing him, and all we saw at the time was going into turn one. We saw the
a
craziness.
car upside down.
We see smoke, and then you see the still tripod shot from ground level on the turn coming out of the turn, and you just see an Alfa Romeo sliding upside down across the gravel, like in the background. And we're like, what's going on? And then they
Yeah.
skipped the yellow flag and immediately went to red flag.
Yeah,
Like,
I was speechless. Like I heard you guys because stream was a little bit ahead of mine, and I heard you guys like big gasp, and I was like, what? Oh man, what happened? And then I hear George Russell, and then I see the car slide, and I'm like, oh shit, this is crazy. Yeah,
bro, it was. I'm not gonna listen. I'm not trying to compare it because by all means, the comparison doesn't matter. But it was similar to when we saw Grosjean go into that barrier. I had no idea what was going on. Like I sit there
yeah.
and just stopped. I was like, like did we just watch that? Like it was pretty intense. So that led like he's definitely okay. He's totally fine. He
No
himself even
fractures.
posted he was walking around the paddock post race talking to everyone like he just DNF'd like it was a regular DNF. So he's totally fine. Chalk another one up to the halo. Like yes, it's ugly, but damn, it saves lives.
Dude,
Like
talk about the safety features in these cars now. Like we've had some pretty nasty crashes this season, and these drivers are just walking away from them, and no cars have caught on fire besides the Red Bull engine.
oh, before the 2010s, that someone's dying in that crash.
Yeah.
Like
So, dude,
100%. Even early
I'm I'm
2010s.
I'm super glad to see how far the safety's gone. Like it's that's great. That should be the number one priority, obviously.
Yeah, I think the driver of the day went to the Halo
Yeah, definitely.
for today, honestly. But shortly after that DNF, let's see, we had I think right off rip we had four cars collected in that. We had
Oh,
George Russell. What's up? Go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have so we had that, George Russell, Zhou Guan Yu crash out, and then Al Albin
Albon.
is reacting. Ahead of Albin, so it's Valtteri Bottas, then Albin behind him, then Vettel right behind Albin.
Yeah.
Bottas is slowing down. Albin starts to slow down. Vettel's right on his rear, can't slow down, locks up, goes into the back of Albin, puts
Yeah,
him into
slams
the
him
wall.
into the wall. Yeah.
Albin bounces off the wall, then gets hit by
He
Yuki,
slams
right?
into
Or
yeah,
someone.
slams into no, slams into Ocon.
He slams into Ocon, then gets hit by Yuki. So it's like, dude, crazy impacts from Albin.
Yeah,
It was just mayhem, man.
dude,
Carnage
no,
at the start of the
it
race.
was. We saw four people DNF. George, which after the fact when he was interviewing and I figured out what was going on, George Russell actually when he got out of his car to go check on. By the way, bravo to the man Russell. Immediately gets out of his car and sprints over to
Sprints,
Joe
yeah.
Guan Yu to make sure he's all good. And so that like shout out to him. But he apparently he told the marshals explicitly, please do not touch the car. Since we are red flagged, do not touch the car. It's just a puncture. I can salvage this race. But by the
Uh-huh.
time he came back from Joe Guan Yu's car, they're lifting it up on the crane and putting it on the flatbed. And the FIA states in the rules saying if you receive any assistance from the marshals, you have to DNF.
Oh,
So, like, he was trying to protest it, but they were super adamant on no, that y'all received assistance. But he specifically yelled and told them, hey, do not touch the car. We could salvage this. All I have is a puncture, and I can finish the race. So
Well,
it's like that would have been sick to see, but that's unfortunate.
at least you got to say hats off to like sacrificing your own race to check on another driver's safety. So
No, absolutely, dude. The guy didn't even care about. Like he looked at the car, yelled at the marshal, and was like, "No, dude." By the time we looked at Russell, he was sprinting to Zhou Guan Yu. Like,
yeah,
hats off to that guy.
yeah, that was man, that was crazy. But then so that was the first lap. Then they do a race
Not
restart.
even. That was the first turn.
That was the first turn.
Wasn't
Yeah,
even the
so
first sector.
they didn't even finish the sector, and I guess in the rule book somewhere, I guess it's supposed to be first lap, maybe it's first sector, I don't know,
I think
but
it was first sector. Yeah.
yeah, they restart the race in the same order of the actual start. So Carlos Sainz gets his P1 restart, Max P2 again. Lewis lost his overtake.
Yeah,
Latifi got his too. He still got his overtake because those two guys DNF out. But
yeah, I was like literally even with the DNFs, everybody had to remember their grid placement even if there was gaps in front of them. It was kind
yeah,
of weird. It was kind of weird.
so interesting. Yeah, and then we got the second start, the restart. Carlos, dude, Carlos got his elbows out, man. He kept Max behind him somehow.
Dude, I mean, dude, he almost pinned him against the right side wall on the pit
Yeah,
straight.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. He did.
I
He
mean,
squeezed him. He
he
squeezed
learned
him.
after his first start. Like, he understood that with Max lined up next to him, especially with Max already having the advantage of going into a right-hander, he doesn't have to lift on. Of course, why would Max lift on that? Like, you have to get your elbows out with him,
You have
and
to
he
shut the
did.
door.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did. And that's how, I mean, that led to his race win today, which we'll get to that. But that, even at the restart of the race, because it was still a full race, they only had three regulated laps because what they did, they completed the one they were on, came into the pits, started the second one, came out for a formation lap, lined up on the grid, and then started on lap three. So from
yeah,
that point on, that was instrumental to him winning the race and getting his position where he needed to be.
yeah. And so that happens, and then a couple turns down the line, uh, I think Perez got in front of Leclerc pretty early on,
This is
maybe in the first
when
corner.
we had a complete four-way battle of damn near the lead. It was Sainz, Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez, all bunched up on the same corners.
Yeah, so they're on the same corner, and Verstappen's going. It looks like Checo was going to try to go on the outside around Verstappen. Then he backs out of that, sees Leclerc coming on the inside, then cuts across the whole track and crashes into the front right of Leclerc,
Yeah,
breaking
their
part
front
of his
wings
wing.
kiss. Yeah.
Yeah, their front wings. I mean, it wasn't like a major crash, but it was like seriously, dude, like what are you doing?
No,
And then
it was definitely dive bombing for sure.
yeah, it died. Yeah, it was pretty stupid, honestly, in my opinion. And so he did that to Leclerc, gave him a little damage on the front wing. Just the vertical portion broke off, and then Perez had some damage too. Eventually, Perez pits, gets a new wing, and Leclerc just stays out, and he's just pressing on. But yeah, they keep going. Max has some mechanical issues. Carlos and Leclerc have some back and forth, I guess. Leclerc wants to get past him, but Ferrari decides no team orders this weekend, which I'm a
Hell
fan of
yeah.
that. I'm a
I'm a
fan of that.
fan. It was a little
But
odd, like they could have done it better today, but I'm a fan of it.
I think it definitely was a detriment to Leclerc's race because he was
Yeah.
held up behind Carlos, even though he had more pace. And I mean, I guess if you qualify pole, you have to get the preferential treatment. So he was definitely the number one driver as far as strategy went this week.
No, yeah, as far as strategy, as far as priority throughout the whole race, they really gave which, you know,
I
it
like that. I
I
like
I
that.
liked it. Yes, it was unfortunate for Leclerc. Yes, it was undoubtedly unfortunate for him. But Carlos has been in that spot all year. Like
Yeah,
he was that guy all year. He's finally pole. He's finally showing. He's only what? He was 2/10 off the target pace. He was asking
he
for
was
like a
fighting for
32.9, and he was hitting it like a 33.1. Like
Yeah, and he was fighting for wins the last couple weekends.
that's what I'm saying. So he's really coming into form, and if it was going to be any race that this happened, I'm glad it was this one, and I'm glad they let him fight. I'm glad they let him like race like that. I know Leclerc was doing, which I see his point of view, I do, but he was doing a lot of bitching behind the wheel today. Well,
He
like
was.
he
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 was, but
he
it
was
wasn't
doing
that
the
bad.
classic Lewis Hamilton today behind the wheel. Like it wasn't that bad. It was like I said, I see it from his point of view because it's like I do understand. I do. You were faster. You felt like you could. It was a detriment to you because since you were being held up with science,
Lewis was right there.
that gave Lewis the opportunity to do something. So it's like it's I totally understand, but you know, yeah, I think Carlos showed his race pace today, and he showed like even under certain circumstance, he went into fuel saving mode. He went into like there was a bunch of stuff telling him that you shouldn't win this race, but he grabbed life by the peaches and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna win this race, Ferrari, and you're gonna like it." And I was like, "All
Yeah, and
right, sweet."
they had later on the race there was a safety car and
Shout out
look,
Ocon.
yeah, so here we go. I'm just gonna jump right into the section.
Yeah,
Ferrari
he needs to rant.
destroys. They've been they've screwed over Leclerc like every chance they get this season on strategy. They have a safety car. They box Sainz, who's P2 at the time.
Immediately.
Immediately he gets soft tires, boom, and then everyone else, like the next six drivers, box, 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 box. Everyone's on softs, and Leclerc's out here on his 12 lap old hard tires. Can I go into the pits? No, it's too late for you. Stay out. Okay. He
Yeah,
stays out on his
okay.
hards. They restart the race. He's P1 on 12 lap old hards. Then it's Carlos on some fresh softs, Lewis Hamilton on some fresh softs, Sergio Perez fresh softs, and then I think Alonso and Lando Norris are on fresh softs also. So
Yep.
like boom, you got like five guys behind you and you're on these old hard tires. And then Ferrari tells
16 lap
Carlos,
old tires or something like that, yeah.
Car- Ferrari's like, Carlos, you got to hold up these guys and let Leclerc get a gap. He's on, and Carlos goes, nope, don't do this to me. This is my race to win. And then they're like, okay, fine, go ahead, Carlos. And then they resumed the race, and you saw probably the best wheel to wheel fighting we've seen all year between Leclerc and
Dude,
Carlos,
that
teammates.
safety car restart was stupid exciting.
It was insane. It
A
was insane.
12 lap shootout.
Carlos obviously gets the lead. He's on the fresh soft tires, but he has a battle wheel to wheel. Then you have behind that Lewis and Perez are wheel to wheel battling, and then once Carlos gets a lead, you have Lewis, Perez, and Leclerc all go
All
three
just
wide into a
shuffling.
corner.
Yeah. Dude,
There we got Lewis does a double overtake, then Leclerc gets back past one of them, then Perez gets past both of them. It was insane.
no,
Yeah,
that safety car restart was shenanigans.
that
I
was
loved it.
the best racing of the season.
Dude, I loved it. And by the way, I just want to give a huge shout out to Sergio Perez today because holy hell, within the first two laps, he was dropped down to P18 or literally the bottom of the grid, and he ended up finishing P2 today. That
Yeah,
dude, I swear to God, him dropping down to the back of the grid early in the race, just and him finishing P2 just proves and I think solidifies himself as the Red Bull number 2 driver.
yeah,
Like
and one of the
he
best
does it all
to
the
do it.
time.
And think about this, it's crazy what happens when you have like a good team with good strategy and can actually execute a good pit stop. How you can come back into the race and get P2.
Shots fired. Shots
Yeah,
fired.
I'm sending all these shots at Ferrari, bro. They piss me off, man. It's hard to be a fan of them.
I mean, they just and then
Like,
dude, you saw Matteo immediately go into Leclerc after and just being like, "Hey man, please don't tear apart the team today. Remember, you race for Ferrari. Like you have a certain responsibility, a certain image to hold up. He did a little bit of finger wagging today after the race. There's
he did.
is there some trouble in paradise?
I would think so. I mean, think about it. If you're Leclerc, you had mechanical failures, you had strategy failure in Monaco, where you cost you
Oh,
P1 in your home race, and then you had a pit stop fumble when you had after the mechanical failures, they get you fresh engine stuff for the next race. Then you have a pit stop fumble that causes you to be behind a DRS train, costing you like the potential to catch back
Yeah,
up to
a
the front of
DRS
the.
train behind Alonso.
Yeah, which yeah, we already know how bad that is these days. And then this race, you have another strategy failure. Like, what? You guys are not doing anything to help him, and you're, I don't know. He's supposed to be your number one. You put him on the super max deal, and you're just like, oh yeah, it's okay, whatever.
Put him on a Supermax deal in mid 2018, dog.
Yeah,
Like,
before you even finished one season in
bro,
F1.
didn't even finish one season in F1 and was with Alfa Romeo. Like,
Yeah,
come on. And
I don't know.
you
I
can't
think,
even give a dude a clean weekend of just pit stop strategy, and like you can't even give him a consistent weekend right now.
yeah, I think if this continues throughout the season, I think Leclerc is going to be looking for that Mercedes seat down the line when Lewis retires.
I mean, can I actually kind of want to talk about this and explore this with also with Rob. Shout out F1 Fantasy Hub. Go follow him. Like how could that be a possibility? Could we? Is there a world we see Leclerc and Russell like manning the Mercedes team?
So it's really hard for me to see Leclerc out of any other team because it's like every team usually has their number one driver, and George Russell is like they're grooming him to be that number one driver. But
Yeah,
like
he's Lewis Hamilton Jr. 100%.
if Leclerc was to make a switch to Mercedes down the line in the future, he's pretty freaking talented. So it would be weird to see them with two number ones.
I
And
don't
same
know,
thing goes
man.
for
George
for
Russell and
Red Bull.
Leclerc and the same machinery gives me like equal talent vibes.
Yeah, that gives me like goosebumps.
But what you were saying about Red Bull?
Yeah, like what? Okay, think about it this way also. Like Sergio Perez is getting older. What about when his contract's done? What if Leclerc goes to Red Bull? Then you got Leclerc and Max.
That's true.
That would be. But I don't think Red Bull's ever really. They've always been. Here's our number one and our secondary driver, clear cut.
Dude, who's down the line going to be the number one besides Max? Because obviously Max isn't going to race forever.
They don't need to worry about that now.
They
They
yeah,
got
they don't need to worry about that now.
they've got plenty of time.
They have him for
It'll be
another
a new.
six
It'll be
years.
another era before they have to worry about who's going to replace Max.
Actually, you're totally right. I don't. I probably yeah, you're right. Max is the forever child for Red Bull.
So I think Ferrari definitely needs to get their story straight and figure out if they want to keep Leclerc or not, because it's looking they definitely have some issues going on there. Leclerc used to be the golden child, like trust every word that Ferrari tells him, but I think he's getting doubt in his team right now.
Well, I mean, it's like I said, man. I don't think Leclerc has had a consistent race weekend this whole year. I don't think he's gone into the weekend expecting exactly what needs to happen to happen. It's always with Ferrari right now, like the old saying goes, it's always something. With
It
Ferrari,
is.
every single weekend, it's always something. It's either down to the pit stop time itself, the strategy they decide to pick, the strategy they decide to pick in qualifying, the strat like it literally
Mechanical
go like
issues.
mechanical issues, power units here.
In
We
the
have a
past, team orders, but this year they said, nah, no team orders.
yeah,
We'll
and
let you
the day
race.
they say no team orders, they decide to screw up everything else. It's like, dude, it's always something with this team right now, and it like you said, it's starting to get like just like how it's kind of depressing to be a McLaren fan. Welcome to the club. It's kind of depressing being a Ferrari fan right now too. Even
Yeah,
though,
it's
and we're saying that as Carlos Sainz celebrates his first Grand Prix win.
dude. I was honestly hoping that Carlos would win this weekend since he started P1, but it would be a lot nicer if it was a 1-2 at least.
It would
Like,
have been a lot nicer if it was a 1-2, and it would have been a lot nicer if there wasn't six DNFs today as well.
yeah, I mean, it would have been nicer without the DNFs, but I will say uh, like two, I guess two things. First of all, like even though they didn't get Leclerc in on that first safety car lap to box, like why didn't they just box him on the second one? Like you
Why
and I
didn't they,
said
man?
this. Like you and I said this. I'd rather bet on Leclerc on fresh softs a couple places down than have him defend on old hards like at the
Dude,
start of the grid.
like Chris, and
You
like I said to you, Ferrari, before the race weekend even friggin' starts, could go on Twitter and put out a voting poll and be like, hey, these are 3 strategies we're going to run for this weekend. Which one sounds the best? And I guarantee you the general public could probably give you a better race strat than what they're doing right now. Because good lord, man, like you said, 100%. And I totally agree with you. If you couldn't pit them on the first one when SAINZ came directly out, they were allowing lap cars to lap anyway, so it was going to take them 2 freaking laps of safety car to do it. Put Leclerc in the freaking pit stop, let him start P6 or P7 or whatever, put him on fresh softs. Even if everyone's in front of him fresh softs, he's in a freaking champion Ferrari. Pass him up.
so
Like,
here's my
dude,
question. So everyone pretty much went into the pits. How far back would Leclerc even drop if he came into the
literally
pits
like
on?
15 seconds, dog.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard to think that he would actually lose out on much, if anything. Like he might even still be P1 because everyone just hit the
Bro,
pits.
15 seconds, and he still had half a lap, if not a full lap, to queue up. So like
Yeah,
it's 15 seconds out of the pits, cut down on the queue up. So now you're right on top of the cars in front of you. You can
yeah.
definitely cover that ground.
And I mean, you saw in the race like he was able to defend like Perez on softs and Lewis on softs for several laps before he got overtaken by both of them for like before they got the job done. And Alonso couldn't get past him on softs, so like if he was on soft tires, even if he was behind them, like he's gonna pass them. He's gonna overtake them.
And listen, don't get me wrong, I understand the hard tires needed damn near 5 laps to warm up to get grip anyway on this track today. But and I understand like the heating and the graining of the hard tires at the time he was using them. They weren't horrible, but you saw dude, he didn't stand a chance to these soft tires passing him. He was defending the whole time. There was not one time on the last 12 lap shootout of the safety car that he felt like he was attacking with the hard tires on. He was always defending.
It was giving me real end of 2021 Saudi Arabia vibes where Lewis
Uh,
was on the old tires and Max just it was you knew it was happening. It was not a matter
yeah,
of
it
if,
was
it was when.
inevitable. Yeah.
It was when, yeah. So that was disappointing. Max, he had some unfortunate mechanical problems with no downforce on the car, and that
Yeah,
led
he
him
had
to
some
like a
floor
P.
issues. Yeah.
Yeah, that also opened the window for Carlos to win because if Max was
If Max
100%,
kept on the pace he was at, I is smooth sailing.
he's winning that. He's winning that
Yeah.
for sure. And I mean, Max got bailed out by Ferrari's shitty strategy because now Leclerc only got P4, so he only lost like a
Yeah,
couple
Max
points to
finished
him,
P7, so is really if anything with
like
everything
seven
going
points or
on,
something, I think.
yeah, with everything going on, literally it was best case scenario
Yeah, yeah. So
for Max that is.
definitely,
And like, I mean, man, we had a couple of firsts today. We had a Carlos Sainz victory. Shout out to the Spaniard. He definitely
dude.
deserved it. This was his 150th Grand Prix start, and he finally gets a dub. So shout out to him.
Yeah, I want to say now that I'm over the ranting and crying, like Carlos P1. That's you know
He deserved
he
it, man. He
started
put his foot
P1, he
down
finished
today.
P1.
He put his foot down today, and I liked it.
Yeah,
At least for himself. It was detrimental to Ferrari, but I liked it.
yeah. I mean, whatever. Ferrari doesn't even want to win anyways, so who cares?
Yeah, I know they made a championship car, but they've exceeded their expectations, so they can get complacent.
I think they did make okay for the team as we're saying like they made the wrong call for the team. I think they made the right call for the team in the long run because this builds Carlos's faith in the team and they signed him on another like 2-year deal, so like he's
No,
sticking around
see,
long term.
here's the thing. I totally agree with you. They made the right call for the drivers. They just royally screwed up Charles Leclerc's pit stop strategy. That's it.
Yeah,
That's not Carlos's fault, and that's not Leclerc's fault. They totally made the right call with the drivers today, but
yeah.
because it seemed odd, and it seemed like it was detrimenting the team because they screwed up Leclerc's pit strategy so god awfully bad.
I
So it's
think
like it's one of those things
maybe they think they can rebuild the relationship with Leclerc pretty easily. So
because they have the
like make
tenure there or something.
Yeah, and like giving Carlos the chance to like get his first win and show that hey, we're backing you also. It's not all 100% Leclerc here. I think that was good for Carlos's confidence, you know.
It's great for Carlos, but like you said, since Leclerc's been the golden child and gets whatever he wants, the moment he doesn't, can that, he feels that as a like a slight towards him.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be pretty upset also, but yeah, Carlos P1 baby. I'm pretty happy about that. I was hoping he would get his
I hope
win.
I see a tweet with Charles Leclerc congratulating the boy.
I think he said on the radio like super happy for Carlos, but that's it, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what can you expect, man? Your biggest rival is your teammate, so I get it. Like, I definitely get it. But at the same time, like, Carlos was here to race, man, and Leclerc was gonna have to take that one from him, like for real, take it from him. But it's you can't really do anything if your freaking pit strategy absolutely falls through the floor.
Yeah, 100%. But
But I mean,
yeah,
for the second first this weekend, Mick Schumacher finally, after
Mick
a
is in the
season and a
points.
half, he's finally in the points. He scored his first Formula One points
Only
officially.
took 6 DNFs to get there, but hey,
Yeah, yeah. I want to give it all the gas in the world, and like I said, shout out to the boy Mick. I know your leash is getting shorter and shorter every day. I know you've got pressure, but damn, man, I want to give you all the gas in the world right now. But it took 6 dudes to not finish this race for you to be in the points today, and I'm stoked, and I'm glad you seized the day and seized the opportunity, but we got to make this a consistent thing, brother.
that being said, he got good points at P8, and he got some experience battling Max, and he placed higher than Magnussen, so he gets
This
gas
is
for that
true.
for sure.
He gets gas
He
for
gets
that. You're right. He
yeah.
gets gas for that. He was fighting Verstappen on the very last freaking laps
All
too.
the way to the finish line.
Dude,
Yeah,
literally all the way to the final turn was trying to make moves. So he wasn't giving up today. He was going for that P7 too.
I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot. So yeah, Mick's that's got to be a confidence booster.
Oh, it's got to be. Gunther's got to be happy with that regardless. It's got to be for him because I know ever since after Miami of that stint of just feeling like he was wrecking every weekend and the leash was getting shorter and shorter and he was putting in like, he was having a great qualifying then finding some sort of way to mess up and drop down the grid and finish out of the points and like I don't know he was just due for a nice weekend like we said it has an asterisk it unfortunately has an asterisk because there was so much going on to play into it. I mean, with 6 DNFs you only have 4 people to pass up to get into the points, so and when the cars that are still in the race are all shit cans, it's kind of easy to pass up to get into the points. But I'm giving him the gas. I'm throwing him his flowers when he deserves it because he finally is on the board. He is finally a certified F1 driver and is on the board. Next stop, podium.
It's it's not all gas for him though. There's a little bit of brakes. Not all gas, no brakes. We got a little bit of brakes in there, but it's like a lift. We're lifting a little bit on the turn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not so much brakes, but definitely lifting off the throttle.
A little lift and coast, we could say
A
for
little
him, but
lifty.
a little lifty. I think one thing I wanted to touch on a little bit earlier was Lewis Hamilton was driving the hell out of that Mercedes, and
Dude.
I think they were able to close in on Ferrari a couple times. So is the Mercedes car
Li-
finally a top contender?
Listen, I wanted to talk about it after today. That Mercedes car, whatever they're doing in their development cycle right now, they're showing why they are Mercedes. Because I don't know about you, but every weekend before Canada, because we said Canada was the best race of the year, this by far knocks it off as the best race of the year. Silverstone's the best race. But that Mercedes is looking dangerously better every single weekend. And we've got a back to back doubleheader this week. So we've got Austria next weekend. Like, and that's a fast track.
Oh yeah, we're gonna see how Mercedes really stacks up, and I'm sure they're gonna fix Verstappen's mechanical stuff, so it'll be more
Oh,
competitive
yeah.
all around. maybe Ferrari can fix their strategy in a weekend. Doubt it. Probably not even a season. But I also saw. I think Ferrari and Red Bull their designs, their floors. There's something wrong with, or they're gonna do some FIA shenanigans going on there
Yeah,
where
I saw that too. We
I,
touched on that a little bit. We were talking about they were some some sort of complaints about the floor design or rent or
I think
figuring
they
out
got
if
a
their
flexi
floors are legal.
floor. They got a
Oh.
flexi floor, and I think what I saw something that said it probably won't affect them this year, but next year they're probably gonna have to change the regulations to kind of like specifically spell out
So it's
floor stuff.
it's a 2019 Ferrari situation. They found an
Yeah,
exploit and they were like, "Congrats, you found the loophole. We'll change our rules."
and McLaren was doing a little bit of that preseason, remember?
Yeah, but they got
So
shut down for it.
yeah, I guess Ferrari and Red Bull made it a little slicker. So we'll see. And I think also coming soon is the porpoising rules, where they're going to measure the magnitude, I think, of the vertical bouncing or whatever in the car.
Interesting.
Yeah, F1 Data Analysis has a nice little Twitter post about it. As always, he's always on the technical stuff, so check him out.
Yeah, no, that's going to be interesting to see because like I said, I'm not going to jinx it, but that Mercedes is looking good on that porpoising issue right now, and they actually showed some ridiculous pace this weekend. And that's why it upset me so much with George Russell, like why they put his car on the flatbed already, because he's like, man, we could have gotten that back into the garage for that red flag, worked on it, fixed the puncture, and we would have been good to go. I was like, dude, that would have been insane to
They,
see both of them in Mercedes on the pace battling for
yeah,
that, because who knows?
and they showed before the race started that George Russell was only 12 points behind second place in the driver standing, so he got hurt a lot by that.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like it's with that issue and with that happening today. I understand. Like you said, he got out of his car like water on the bridge. It's it. What happened happened. He cared about Zhou Guanyu in the moment. That like props to that guy. But to see both of the Mercedes contending and on the pace today, like Lewis was to finish P3, that would have with already the race turned on its head. That would have made it even crazier.
Yeah, that would. Oh, that would. I didn't even think about how spicy it could have got, especially because like both the Red Bulls had those issues. Like, Perez always had to crawl his way back to the top, and Max was just
Max was just
limping the
fighting.
whole
Yeah.
race. Like, dude, imagine George Russell like fighting with Perez all the way from from the back of the grid up to the front.
No, that's what I'm saying, dude.
Crazy.
But yeah, I mean, Silverstone was a wild one, man. We have our
It was
final
a
driver.
banger.
Dude, like we said, we had Canada at top race of the year. I think unanimously from our end, I can speak for the whole lockup podcast that I think Silverstone takes the cake by far for best race of the year.
100%, man. And I will say we're gonna have to update. We'll update our track rankings at the end of the season. Like we're
Yeah,
doing this
I like
like
that.
in the off season because that would be nice. And then maybe we can even do one for our predictions on the 23 driver or like because they're gonna add Vegas. So
Yeah,
and then
we'll
who
go
knows?
back to our first episode, see what we predicted for the season, and then do a new tier list at what happened.
Yeah, we enjoyed doing the tier list, so we might do like a drivers tier list coming up soon and some other stuff like that. Let us know what you guys want to
I
see.
had mad fun doing that. But yeah, to round out the Silverstone GP, we had Carlos Sainz P1, Sergio Perez P2, Lewis
Let's
Hamilton
go.
P3, Charles Leclerc sad face P4. Definitely could have been a 1-2. Uh, which I'm gonna say this. I think this definitely gets overshadowed. Fernando Alonso P5, strong drive for the dude today. Strong drive for the kid.
100%.
Lando Norris getting that freaking god awful McLaren into P6. That's awesome. Verstappen P7, Schumacher in the points P8. His mentor, his father figure, that isn't his dad, P9, Sebastian Vettel, which from P18, great drive. And we got Magnussen rounding out the points. So both Haas double points today. That's big. That's big for them.
They
You
look like
know,
fucking legends this
they look
weekend.
like rock stars, not a bunch of wankers. Uh, Stroll, we got double Canadians. Stroll and Latifi, P11, P12, and Man, I didn't want to mention it, but Danny Rick P13. We'll we'll see what's going on with there. You know what? We're gonna let that one breathe. We're gonna let that one
I
breathe.
wasn't gonna say anything about it. You're the one that brought it up.
I
So
know, I know, I know. He was the last one on the standings, and it's just, it's just
you
tough.
you could have just stopped there, man. You didn't have to
You
go
could have
all the
just
way.
stopped there, man. Yeah, well,
And then I guess Yuki's after that P14. Then we had all the DNFs.
yeah, just all the DNFs, the 6 DNFs we had today,
Yeah.
almost 7. But yeah, I mean, Silverstone, it was wild to say the least. But guys, that's been episode 22. Um, Good to know. I am making leaps and bounds on hiring a clip guy or clip person that is to start beefing up our YouTube content because we're going to start pushing that out a little bit more frequently and a little bit better quality for you because we believe in this thing and we really want to have some fun with it and look cool. We're also planning some shirts. Shirts are going to be kick ass.
Yeah, I think we're gonna debut them probably at the American Grand Prix when we're sporting them ourselves. So we'll
Oh
see how
yeah.
that goes. Should be fun.
But yeah, guys, that was episode 22, the Silverstone GP post race recap. Follow us on Twitter at TLUPF1. Follow us on or subscribe to our YouTube at the Lockup Podcast and anchor.fm/the Lockup Podcast for Stitcher, Deezer, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you can get a podcast. But show love, we'll show love back. And this has been the episode. So deuces, family.
Vamos, Carlos.
Vamos!